Head down to the Harvard Yard, pack your car. How'd I do? Hey,
You
Mark
nailed it.
Wahlberg,
Yeah.
I can come to Vegas. Welcome to Dirtying the Frame podcast with me, Sarah, and my lovely co-host, Assad.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Haunted mansion.
Bummer. Guys, we decided to go see Haunted Mansion for you, our friends and fans, so that you don't have to. And when I say you don't have to, believe me when I say you don't have to.
Out the gate? We're giving it away out the gate like that?
But listen to the rest of this pod, because boy, do we have some interesting takes on this film.
We do, yes. We're not just trying to string you along, I promise.
No. So we saw Disney's Haunted Mansion this week at my beloved Alamo Draft House.
Don't be on your phones ever. This is your final warning. Fuck off if you're on your phones, fucker. Enjoy the show.
We'll kick you out forever. You'll never be back in this theater or anywhere around here again.
Calm down, Alamo.
But we had some good snacks, at least.
Mm-hmm.
What snacks did you have? Do you remember?
Alamo has a salted caramel shake that's probably the closest thing to believing in God.
Your favorite thing on the planet to eat,
Yes,
huh?
yes.
I had a big old bowl of French fries and a Coke. And Assad had a lot of snacks other than that.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I like seeing movies at Alamo. That's probably, depends on the film, but that's one of my favorite places to go see a film in the Los Angeles area. What's your favorite theater to go see a film at? I know it depends, but just pick one.
My favorite theater to go see a movie at used to be ArcLight, R.I.P. Some famous celebrity buy that, will you, please? Why hasn't it been bought, by the way? Bought.
Bought. Bought is certainly not a word.
Why haven't we bought that? Now it's probably Alamo. Yeah. Now
Okay.
It's probably Alamo. The only thing that Alamo doesn't have is like if it's a big budget film that's action packed IMAX, then you got to see it somewhere else. But Alamo overall is my favorite.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went to see a movie at ArcLight? It must have been one of the Iron Mans, or do you remember which film it was? Avengers?
Yes.
Endgame?
Yes, Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Assad took me to the ArcLight, maybe even the Dome, I can't remember. And he said, we got to dress up. We're dressing up like Iron Man, though. We can't just go in regular clothes. And I said, no, Assad, this is the ArcLight. We can't, this is like celebrities go there, you know? Like, this is a little embarrassing. He insisted, so we found red shirts. It wasn't even a good dress up, you know? Like, we found red shirts, and he cut out 2 circles of white paper. And we taped them to our chests so that we look like Iron Man. Are you remembering this?
You did not love it 3000.
And we went, and we're in the parking garage of the ArcLight. He's driving, and I'm just like, for some reason, just so embarrassed by these like dumb outfits. Because people are gonna be like, what are you, it's not even clear that it's an outfit, you know? It just looks like we wore a shirt with a fucking circle on it. Like, you know when you do a hole punch and then in the little tray, it's all those little hole punch pieces? That's what it looks like. One of those threw up on us and we accidentally didn't see it on our shirts. So we're in the parking lot, he's driving, and I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Like, this is like a theater you go to see and be seen, you know? And then as we're turning the corner, I'm like, oh my God, Martin Short, one of my childhood heroes, is walking across in front of our car, and I'm like, well, Martin Short, you see, I told you, celebrities are gonna see us now. Martin Short thinks I'm an idiot. Do you remember this?
I do. It was like
so
right
mad.
as you were saying, but someone's gonna see. I was like, nobody's gonna see you, and literally Martin Short popped up. It was like, look at you fuckers.
And I was like, well, now Martin Short thinks I'm an idiot, and it's all thanks to you. So that was our little detour, and back to Disney's Haunted Mansion.
And if you didn't do that, right now you would be only murders in the building.
I would be Selena Gomez right now. I could be the sexy baby if it weren't for you. He saw my headshot cross the desk, and he said, no, I recognize this woman.
This is Iron Girl.
This is Iron. I remember her from something. She left a bad taste in my mouth. I can't remember what it was. Okay, so before we get into Haunted Mansion, let's go to our favorite segment, Trailer Trash. Most excited to see out of the trailers that we saw for this film. I'm going to go with The Next Goal Wins. Now, this movie has Michael Fassbender. It has Will Arnett, Elizabeth Moss, and, or as I call her, Elizabeth Xenu is my master Moss.
Is that her Instagram name?
Praise Xenu. And, you know, and Michael Fassbender, I told you I call him Michael, I'll do the fingering, Fassbender. I only remember him from, is it Alien Covenant?
I don't know what movie it is.
It was some alien movie, and he was playing someone who was possessed, and he said, I'll do the fingering. And that's what I know him from. And more importantly, Waika Waititi, no.
Tight little butt.
Taika Waititi. I know his name. I just got excited. Taika Waititi, who famously did Jojo Rabbit, which I just loved. And I've loved some of his Thors, and I think he's really interesting filmmaker and exciting filmmaker. So I'm excited to see this movie. It is about, let's see. Did I write it down? Oh, yes. The American Samoa soccer team, who infamous for their brutal 31-0 FIFA loss in 2001. 31-0. Apparently, this is a true story.
That's a basketball score.
It's so bad. So it looks interesting. It looks funny. I think Will Arnett's funny. I think Taika's funny. And I'm excited to see this movie.
I'm in agreement here. Other than The Marvels, which featured Brie Larson's tank top.
How long are we going to have to hear about her tank top?
You know they're called A-shirts? Did you know that? I don't think they're called tank tops anymore.
No, why?
I don't know, but I'm not a fashionista, but I think that's what they're called.
Oh, yeah, you should. If you knew it was an A-shirt, then maybe you are. What's a T-shirt?
Oh, good point.
Is it A? What happened to the letters in between?
V-neck.
We skipped ahead.
Yeah. Other than Brie Larson's tank top, seen that in The Marvels, which is my favorite movie event of the year. I'm with you here on Next Goal Wins. I do believe this is a scary time. You know, in music, Sarah, if you had a hit single, if Sarah's hit single came out tomorrow and it was called
Sarah Smiles.
That's a Simon and Garfunkel song.
Sarah A-shirt.
Yes. What? If Sarah's A-shirt comes out tomorrow, it's a smash hit. In music,
Obviously.
It's not about getting the hit. It's like, okay, now you're on the clock because you need a follow-up. That's like the best and the worst thing that could happen to your music career. It's like, what is your follow-up song now? Or else you're just going to be labeled a one-hit wonder.
So should they, instead of saying you got to come up with a hit, maybe the phrase should be, we got to come up with 2 hits.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
The 1-2 punch.
This is a long metaphor, I apologize. But for me, a little bit, I love Taika Waititi, but he might be in this on-the-clock phase of his career where it's like the last Thor missed big. Jojo Rabbit, I think we're one of the only two people in the world that liked Jojo Rabbit.
I
though.
loved that movie.
Yeah. I just think the shine might be wearing off the pig a little bit with Taika, and I hope he does something a little bit different here, just to reinforce of how good of a filmmaker he is. It's getting a little one note for me. Being picky. Sorry.
I will also, to piggyback on that, say, in all honesty, I didn't think that the preview looked that good.
Yeah, it was
right?
the best of all the ones we got, but it still didn't blow me away.
And I think we're giving it, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely giving it some extra rope because of the filmmaker that he is, because I've liked his sense of humor and liked what he's done in the past. The cast is good-ish. Michael Fassbender isn't putting my butt in a seat, to be honest. I don't really, he's a little bit of a like, oh, he's that guy from that thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't think he's great. Sorry, maybe he is. I just haven't seen him in anything. I like Will Arnett, and I think that the Smartless rise has really added some value to his stock, so I'm glad to see that he's working again because I think he's really funny. But yeah, in all honesty, it didn't look blow your socks off great, but I'm giving it more points for who's in it and what I've seen them do in the past. So I'm judging off of their past work rather than their current work. And hopefully, like you said, hopefully this will be a make, not a break for Taika.
Do you care to comment on the Smartless podcast superseding Bill Murray as the thing white people love the most?
I do care to comment because I didn't really understand the Bill Murray thing. Maybe I'm a little too young. But I'm on the Smartless train, baby. I am on the Smartless train. Nothing brings me more joy other than my own podcast than listening to the Smartless podcast. I think it's so fun and dumb, and I really enjoy those 3 real white whiteys just being white.
That's what they should have named it. The 3 white whiteys being white.
That was in the running. It was just too wordy. It was just too wordy. People weren't remembering it. The test audience didn't test well. I'm least excited to see the Marvels.
What did we talk about Brie Larson's tank top? Oh, we're flying.
Yes, we talked about her tank top, and nobody cares. Okay. Nobody cares. Stop talking about her tank top. Okay. I am hopeful that this movie works.
No one cares.
No one cares about the A tank or the B tank or the V tank or the C tank. I see her boobs in it, and I'm not impressed, okay?
You're not?
Still not impressed with her acting.
Okay, pause. Let's go to our je ne sais quoi test. Brie Larson comes up to you in a nightclub, buys you a martini. What happens?
No, thank you.
You're out.
I can buy my own drink, bitch. Why is she a bitch? She just offered to buy me a drink.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice person thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
She has no je ne sais quoi. She's a zero. She's vanilla ice cream. She's boring. Okay. Ugh.
All right.
Ugh. Give me Kristen Bell in this movie.
Really?
I love Kristen Bell. Like, she's funny, she's quirky, she's that girl. Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh. I understand they're already in the universe.
Can Kristen Bell fight?
Yeah, well, can Brie Larson? They're both weigh 80 pounds.
Brie Larson kind of sells it more than Kristen Bell, right?
No.
Larson's kind of like don't talk to me attitude kind of helps when she's in the fighting scene, no?
Her don't talk to me attitude is like this. Don't talk to me.
That's an Oscar winner you're talking about, by the way.
I know. She was great in that film.
She was so good.
Doesn't mean she has to be great in every film. I just think she's being miscast. We can have a whole podcast where we can talk about Brie Larson and her tank top and her miscasting and what I think she would be right in and who I think would be better on Marvel. Okay. If you guys are interested, let us know. We will make that podcast.
Do you know that a lot of the people that don't like her as Captain Marvel, do you know what they're called?
No, Assad.
Incels.
I'm an incel. I'm mad because she won't have sex with me. Okay. I am hopeful that this movie works. There are 3 female leads. Mm-hmm. It's a mostly female-led cast. Mm-hmm. I'm here for it. I support white females. I'm sorry. It's so dumb. I was just being fun. It was a joke. It was a joke. I am here.
That's a crazy hashtag, by the way.
You know, I support white women. We all need to. Everybody needs the help. That being said, Brie Larson does not work for me in this role. She is like watching paint dry. I'm not interested. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would rather talk about that movie than the movie we went and saw.
Yeah, I think we're delaying a little bit because we had the joy of seeing Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Before you cook, tell us about the ride. Tell us about your Disneyland experience. What does the Disneyland ride mean to you?
So I will say, I do like the Disney ride. I only go on it when let me start by saying that Assad and I go to Disneyland a lot. We really like Disneyland. It's fun. We frequent it on our days off just to kind of go.
We're the people that are really high eating a turkey leg.
Just sucking on the bones and the the gristle. Oh, gross. No, what's your favorite Disneyland snack though?
I would say it's really tough after I leave Disneyland eating a pretzel that's not Mickey shaped.
Facts.
I love a Mickey shaped pretzel.
We love a Mickey. If it's anything in Mickey shape, well, are you forgetting?
What am I forgetting?
About our newest discovery, which is in California Adventure at the bakery. Right when you walk in, it's attached to the ice cream shop in the Starbucks. Oh. They have these churro cupcakes.
Dog.
They are insane.
Dog.
Apparently, they're only. What do you call it? Like it's only
seasonal?
Yeah, seasonal. Thank you. I was going to say cyclical, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, they're seasonal, so it should be probably back around Halloween time, I'm guessing.
So good though.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. And then they have, in addition to that, this like toffee that is churro toffee. It's called, guys. We only got it because 4 people in line were like, you have to try the toffee. So of course we got it, and it is something to write home about. Like if you ever find yourself at Disneyland California Adventure, the churro toffee is well worth the $8 that it costs.
Big run for churros recently. They're like on a Timothée Chalamet run.
You know, it's like, it tastes like cinnamon toast. You remember making cinnamon toast when you were a kid? You just, as a little snack, whether it be breakfast in the middle, maybe in the middle of the night, you wake up. I was a very large child. Just some toasted bread, butter, cinnamon, sugar on top. Very delicious. Tastes like that, but 100 times better.
What does the ride mean to you?
The ride. Thank you. The ride doesn't mean much to me. It's one I skip most of the time. I like to go around Halloween time because they do it up for Nightmare Before Christmas. But it is enjoyable when I go on it. I tend to go on anything that's more roller coastery because I'm not 8. Cool burn to 8-year-old Sarah. Sick burn.
Nice teapots, pussy.
Oh, you're on Peter Pan ride? Try the drop ride. I just went on Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't worry about it. Because I've had my period already. It's a tangent I went on in my brain, because I'm not a little kid. I like big, scary rides. But it's fun. And we'll get into later kind of how they incorporated the ride into the movie and what I thought about that. But I do enjoy the ride to some extent. It's mostly a missable ride for me as well. I was hoping that this movie would be fun, and I was disappointed, ultimately. I'll give you the logline. A single mom named Gabby, which I thought was odd that they added into the logline. A single mom named Gabby hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise her newly bought mansion after discovering it's inhabited by ghosts. So we have Lakeith Stanfield. Who else is in this movie? Owen Wilson.
Rosario Dawson, who you vacation with often.
I'm just going to get this out of the way because Assad is going to keep bringing it up so we can let you guys know. We went on vacation to Palm Springs one weekend, and Rosario Dawson and her friend Catherine McPhee were at our hotel swimming with us in the pool. They did not speak to us, but their daughter did.
And now ever since then I say I summer with Rosario.
And so he kept saying, we summer with Rosario Dawson. And I said their daughter. What I mean is Rosario's daughter. I don't believe she shares the daughter with Catherine McPhee.
You don't think their relationship's gotten to that point just yet? Who knows?
What do I know? So we summer with her. We were this close to her. We were in the same pool. But she did not acknowledge our existence. But she seemed really lovely, and I'm sure we could be friends.
We got revenge because we're not acknowledging this movie as
We're not acknowledging this movie as good. And she did not acknowledge us as people being good. First thoughts, Assad, take it away.
I don't, with Marvel coming on board with Disney buys Star Wars 8 years ago, I don't know, for $1 billion flat out. They got Marvel Universe going on. And to see the superhero craze wind down, to see Star Wars not executed that well, and then these known properties, on the backs of these... What do you call it when they're remaking cartoons like live action, like Lion King,
right?
Mulan? Man, it's weird to me that Disney's in such trouble creatively. I can't believe they've under-delivered so huge recently with their films.
But that's a good point because wasn't the whole vision of Disneyland and Disney's vision using your imagination? And now we're just reimagining. We're just reimagining old properties so they don't have to think.
They're called Imagineers. I mean, Lion King didn't work for me. Mulan didn't work for me. Beauty and the Beast didn't work for me. Little Mermaid, and then this Haunted Mansion. I'm like, damn, man. Disney's always been able to deliver a solid film for children and adults at the same time.
Right.
And I think the pace and speed at how they're making content now, it's really hard to quality control all of this shit they're trying to put out. And this movie, we do need a new segment. I'm always offering new segments of who's this movie for?
Who is this movie for?
I'm not sure who's this for. I think it's just for your maybe late, I don't know, early teens maybe.
I don't think so, man.
Who's going to see this movie? It's a little scary, too scary for little kids, and there's no content worthy of bringing home for anyone older than a teenager, I hate to shit on the film because I know a lot of great people worked on it, and I'm a big fan of Lakeith Stanfield and Rosario Dawson, but there's a lot of the times I'm sitting in theaters now with known properties like this, I'm like, why did this film get made? And that's the big takeaway I have when I was walking out of this film. I was like, why did that get made?
Right.
On to you.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who this movie is for.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I really wanted to like this movie, okay? So I went in. I was excited to see it. I had heard that it was better than people had anticipated, so I was excited. I went in with a positive attitude, which I think is half the battle. And even after it started, it opens up with a scene, like a flashback scene in Lakeith Stanfield, and I just immediately was like, I leaned over to Assad and I said, oh no, it's not working for me. Like, his performance is not working for me.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was in a different movie. He was giving an Oscar-worthy performance where he's crying in every other scene, and it didn't work, to his detriment. You know, not to say, I think this movie, I don't think we should judge him as an actor from this movie. I think he's still a great actor. I think he just didn't work in this film. I don't know why he was chosen for this film. I think Rosario Dawson and help me out. What's the girl's name who's a comedian?
Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish, thank you. I think they were closer to hitting the mark as far as the tone and the son. I think those three were kind of all in the same movie, but everyone else, it was tough. Owen Wilson was in his own movie. Lakeith was in his own movie, which to me, and I don't know anything really about this, but to me says there's an issue with direction. The director didn't get everybody on the same page of the tone of the film. I couldn't get into it. I thought, okay, after about 10 minutes, I thought, okay, it's a kid's movie. Really just have fun with it. It's going to be hokey and quirky and weird, and that's okay. We can lean into that. But then it didn't even do that, and it tried to be serious and dark and at the same time be quirky and light, and it just did not work. It felt overworked and underbaked, like a bad pizza crust. It was convoluted from the start, the plot. And I was just like, guys, are we still trying to add plot points here? It's the Haunted Mansion story. You know, keep it simple, stupid. Like, they tried to add in, they just kept layering and layering more. It was almost like someone was, poking holes in the plot line, and then they would explain any storyline that could have a hole poked in it away, rather than just being like, oh, let's have the audience suspend their disbelief and we'll roll over some of the parts that aren't really making sense. Instead, they tried to explain every little thing away and wrap it up in a little bow, and then by the end, there's a room full of all of these patched holes, and I'm so confused as to what room we're in. Does that make any sense?
No, yeah, you're completely correct. I don't want to shit on it too much because it is a Disney film. It's a film for kids. I'm probably not in the demo of what they're reaching for, but just to give an honest review of someone that's probably, I'm over opinionated and underqualified, but the thing about this film that I kind of struggle with, and this is completely preference, this isn't being a film critic, this isn't research back. There's just a couple people I don't like to see on screen. We've talked about this before.
I know who you're going to say.
You know, and the Michael Jordan of that is Jared Leto.
Ugh.
I think he's a talented actor. And he comes off as self-serious, you know, but every time he's in a film, I'm like, ooh, I don't really enjoy seeing him on screen. And this movie had a couple of them. I think they had probably like 5 of my top 10 people that I don't love seeing on screen. Tiffany Haddish has really turned a corner for me where I'm like, ooh, I don't love seeing her on screen. I think the shine's wearing off that pig a little bit, where I'm like, ooh, I don't know how actually funny she is. You have to put her in a funny scenario.
And you could tell that they were letting her rock with a little bit of, improv.
Yeah.
And she was improving, and they left it in the movie. And normally I like that, but it was just pushed too hard. It didn't fit in the world, like it just didn't work. And I totally agree with you. I think randomly she worked in this movie, maybe.
Yeah, I think the way she kind of overacts or delivers a little clumsily kind of fit the tone accidentally. I don't think it was purposeful, but I'm not done. Jared Leto, Tiffany Haddish. I know you like him, but I can't really rock with Owen Wilson. Wow. I don't love Danny DeVito in films. Maybe Matilda's the only thing I've liked him in, and I think he's been market corrected by Peter Dinklage. And just when I thought it was over, Winona Ryder comes out of nowhere.
Oh, I forgot she was in this movie.
Oof, Winona Ryder comes out of nowhere. Then there's
reason. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
There's a Joe Coy appearance.
Who's that?
I've never been able to find him funny. He's a bald Asian guy. Sorry for not getting the Asian correct. I don't want to shit on this movie too much, but I go to Disney as a Disneyland fan, and I expect a certain level of quality from their stuff, and sometimes you just have to be like, well, that's not your movie. That movie wasn't for you, but I do expect a certain level of quality, and this underperformed in a lot of directions. There was a good part about it that we might get to later, though.
I think overall it just lacked. I was looking for, when I go see a Disney film, I'm looking for charm, for whimsy. It wasn't funny, it lacked all of those things, unfortunately, for me.
Can I sidebar you really quick?
Yeah.
Dan Levy's in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Is he the best out of the Schitt's Creek cast? Is he having the best career post Schitt's Creek?
I want to say that it's Catherine, what's her, O'Hara.
Okay, she's been in other stuff.
I think they're casting her in a lot of stuff. Like they're bringing her back. She got a lot of love for Schitt's Creek. And Eugene Levy got his own show on HBO. I don't know that anybody's watching it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Did Dan Levy? He got one movie. I think he's in. Has he been in a ton of stuff?
He's been in a bunch of movies, but he comes off the bench and just has like a 7-minute scene in a lot of movies as like the gay friend or the gay quirky guy, which he does a good job in.
Right.
He's usually the same person. Hassan Minhaj is in this movie as well, which he does that as well. Like come in a movie for 7 minutes, have a
He
funny
did a good
scene.
job in this. I liked his little scene in this.
He did, yeah. It's similar to No Hard Feelings when he did that there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to shit on it too much. So let's talk about something good about the film.
Okay, well, we have our rose and our thorn. That was just our first thoughts as we left. I will also say, Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't get it.
Whoa, she's been, I think she's a phenomenal actress. The last couple of things she's been in, she is swinging for the fences.
Well, she won an Oscar for Swinging for the Fences, and so I think she's going to keep doing it, and I don't like it.
She's pretty big in The Bear. She's pretty big in this. Yeah, she's going for it. But shout out to her, man. She's an Asian woman in Hollywood that's crushing shit now.
And I have worked with Jamie on a commercial.
We are coworkers.
I just snotted all over my face.
What kind of commercial was it, Sarah?
Well, guys, I did an Activia commercial. You know, the yogurt that's good for your gut health. When I first moved to Los Angeles, it's the first and only national commercial I've booked that has actually aired, and I made quite a bit of money off of that. So thank you, SAG-AFTRA, for that. Yeah, I worked with her on that. I played a waitress. Really stretched from my usual role, as I was a waitress at the time, and she was really nice. She said she told all the extras in the commercial I was too pretty to be a waitress, and I was like, "Go on, Jamie, tell me more." And she is famously the wife of one of my favorite filmmakers, Christopher Guest, of Waiting for Guffman and Spinal Tap and Best in Show. They've been married for years and years and years. So I will not say anything bad about her because she's nice, and I'm sure she's really, really cool.
Do you think I'm too good looking to be a waitress?
Yes.
Thank you.
I do. But I think you could be a chef.
Oh, thank you. They're kind of edgy. I have a little
Chefs are really hot right now.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
speed. Hey,
Thanks to the bear.
Let me ask you this question before we get to Rose and Thorn.
Okay.
Sarah's World Tomorrow. Pirates has been a movie. Haunted Mansion's been a movie. What ride does Sarah Stouffer make into a movie at Disneyland?
Can it be California Adventure?
Yes, please.
Can it already be a movie?
Yeah, okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the ride should be a good movie.
Really?
But it's already a movie, so that's a bad answer.
Well, you gave me a really bad answer to a good question.
Okay.
I thought I really killed that. But, wow.
Maybe it was the question, because they're all rides about movies.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. They all have movies.
Do they?
Think about, Space Mountain. Okay, Space Mountain. We'll make that one.
Oh, Space Mountain? Yes. Ooh, I love. See, now that's an answer, Sarah.
5.
Now you're cooking.
4. Oh wait,
3.
no.
Okay. All right, Rose and Thorn. What's your favorite part about this film, Sarah?
Well, it's a great segue because my rose was actually how well they incorporated the ride into the movie. I thought I had a really fun time spotting the Easter eggs of like, oh, and I'm not even huge on that ride. You know, I had a really fun time looking and seeing, you know, when they were in the dining room and the ghosts were dancing just like in the ride, or, you know, the paintings that you see in the ride, they incorporated those into the film, and that was really fun. So if you've been on the ride or you're a fan of the ride, which I know there's a lot of people who really, really love that ride, and I'm sure you're already going to see the movie if you have, but you'll enjoy at least that aspect of the film. I thought it was really fun. What was your rose?
This is clear for me. His name is Chase Dillon. He played Travis, the son in it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was phenomenal, man. He had this weird thing, and it's because of the wardrobe. It's based in New Orleans, so the wardrobe had some decisions. They did like brown and orange colors, which I don't know if fits New Orleans. I don't know exactly, but it made them look dated. It made it look like it was an older film. And when this little kid had this old clothing on, it looked like a 1960s film. He looked like a black newsie, you know? He's a talented kid.
Yeah,
you know?
he did a
like
great
his
job.
reactions, what he was doing with his face was perfect. I was like having fun as he was moving through the universe. I really had fun with that kid.
That's a great point. He was almost my rose too.
Yeah.
I thought that he nailed the tone.
He did.
you know,
Yeah.
and that makes sense because he's a little kid, and that it should have that whimsy and that joy. And I think that he really nailed it, and I think Rosario did too. I think that their connection felt real and good, and I felt that they were all kind of vibing and cohesive with each other. My thorn was Rosario Dawson's wig. Why?
Okay, well, hold on a second.
Why did they choose that?
As a white woman, you can't comment on black women's hair. Can you comment on their wigs?
It wasn't her hair.
It was someone else.
Can I comment on a wig maker? A wig. That's like a job on set. I forget what they call them, the wig monger or something like that. It's like the person who does all the wigs for the set. And I just didn't understand the choice. I think Rosario Dawson's hair is lovely in real life. I just thought it was an odd choice. I didn't get why they chose it. There wasn't.
Yeah.
We weren't sure what era we were in. Like you mentioned with the wardrobe, it was like, you know, they definitely wanted to be stylized. Lakeith Stanfield's character was wearing a costume, you know. So I don't know. I just didn't get it. That's my thorn. White woman or not, that's my thorn.
It wasn't great, and I'll definitely ask her when we next summer. But about it, I don't understand. Well, this is new, and Insecure has kind of changed a lot of this. But for years and years and years, black talent has had to have a white makeup and hair department. You know, and I know that's changed. That's changed over the last decade or even more than that. And it makes me wonder because even when here's a problem, and I hate to get on my high horse, that even when you get black people in those positions, they're still very new to it, you know? And you don't know how much creative control they have. So you go back and watch Tyler Perry movies, and they're like glued on cornrows. You go watch The Walking Dead, and it's like a dread wig the black guy's
so
wearing.
bad.
And it's a little tough in this, and I haven't noticed like a really offensive hair job done recently. But as soon as you pointed it out, I was like, "Oh yeah, man, this is not working for such a beautiful person who can wear anything." You know, it's like
she's so gorgeous.
It was a little distracting. It was a little distracting. My thorn for the film was, I think it's a waste of Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, why do you think they chose him?
Here's the thing, I'm big on like actors, even as a creative myself, I'm like, yeah, you do one for the people, one for you. You know, like I bet you got a bag for Haunted Mansion from Disney. If this means you can do 4 more independent films, Lakeith, where I can see you experimenting, I'm so with it. Spend your money wisely. I hope you're like filthy rich because of this movie. But for being such a big fan of him, because Atlanta used him so perfectly, we should have a potty about this, but I do have a list of actors where I'm like, I don't know if Hollywood knows what to do with them. And Lakeith is kind of tops on that list. I'm like, does Hollywood know what to do with him? Is anyone writing a decent part for a male black lead who's kind of curious? And I don't know. You'd have to tell me if he's good looking. I don't know. You know, if he has a thing about him, but I'm such a fan of his because of Atlanta, and to see him in a movie where he kind of played the lead, it's a big opportunity for him to open the film. It didn't really deliver, and I'm like, damn, man, I hope that doesn't hurt his career because he's way too talented for it.
Yeah, it seemed like he seems to be, and I don't know much about him. I haven't heard him in too many like interviews or read any articles, but just the vibe I get from him is that he's a genuinely really good actor, and he is probably an actor's actor. If you know if that term means anything to you. Daniel Day-Lewis type of, maybe not that extreme, but type of vibe. And so putting someone like that in a film like this can miss, you know? And I'm sure that the thing is, like, for his career, I'm sure his people, and I'm sure his people are saying, you need to do something mainstream, you need to do something mainstream so that you're buyable as a big movie star. How do you make movie stars if you can't carry these films? But it just wasn't a good fit. It just wasn't a good fit. And I don't think anything less of him. I think there was a moment in it where I was like, this guy's a really good actor. Yeah. And then the rest of it, unfortunately, I was like, oh, he's not in the same movie as the rest of this cast. And I almost felt like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did kind of feel like that, right?
I was like, that was part of his character, I think. His character was supposed to be kind of this, like, I'm sad and depressed and down, and I don't want to be here. I don't want to do anything. And then I guess his relationship with the little boy is supposed to spark something like a glimmer of hope, but it just didn't work. It was too dark.
A lot of the time, you bring up a good point where, like, sometimes you can be, I liken it to being, some people are so smart that they're dumb, you know? Like, good actors in bad films are almost worse than like bad actors in bad films.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like sticking out like a sore thumb, just like don't know how to be bad.
They don't know how to adjust to like bad, right? I remember we talked about Natalie Portman in Thor.
Yes.
Where we're like, Natalie Portman's one of the best actors we've ever seen. And she's in Thor trying to make jokes, and we're like, she is sticking out like a sore thumb. This sucks, you know? Lakeith Stanfield was the same way, where I'm like, I think he's too good to know how to act in such a bad film.
It's totally
he's
true.
Sticking out.
There is an art form to being a Marvel hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that this is the same thing, but it kind of is that same type of property, right? Like there is an art form to being a, Chris Hemsworth or a Scarlett Johansson, like being able to be commanding and having this soft kind of very soft fuzzy arc rather than a real meaty bite your teeth into character.
Because there's no reason Tiffany Haddish should be fitting into a movie more than Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah.
I know it's character based, but it's tricky, man. This stuff is tricky because even when you talk about the superhero stuff, I mean, you've never played a superhero, but imagine being dead ass serious in a $500 million film, being like the Tesseract has made it to planet nowhere, and we have 3 days till Loki comes in. It's like, what are these words that I'm saying? It's like hard to even take this script serious. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have auditioned for things where I've had to speak mumbo jumbo, to me mumbo jumbo, like medical jargon or a lawyer or whatever. And you're just saying words. It's basically like speaking in a language that doesn't make sense to you. You're just saying these words like, give me the pointy thing before this member dies. And you're like, what? Give me the pointy thing. And you're like, you need to sell it. And it's like, it doesn't work unless you know how to sell it. Like it is the most important thing in the world. This whole planet will die if you don't hand me the Tesseract. And I was like, what?
All right.
I saw it. Speaking of, will you tell the people what's your dream role? What do you want to do in a movie one day?
There's a lot of things. I don't know what you're referring to, but
Give me
I do
one or
have
two
a
of them.
weird bucket list of scenes that only happen in movies that don't happen in real life that I want to happen in my life. One is when a crime happens, a chief police will pull up with 20 people around, and the chief police will order all of them around and speak so confidently, and they all abide by. I need a 20-foot perimeter around this area. You call the victim. Check the call log. I want to do that so fucking bad. If anyone loves me, please set that up for me. Whether it's a real crime or not, I'll adapt. But I want to
block off the entrance to the East Wing.
Yeah. Another thing I want to do that happens in movies a lot, my movie bucket list, is stand in front of multiple TVs that are all projecting the same image.
What's that movie with Tom Cruise, The Minority Report, like that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the last one, I forgot what movie it was that we saw. Oh, it was Oppenheimer, I believe. I want to talk to someone who's in the same room, but just look out a window the whole time.
Oh, that's a classic.
And not address them,
You got to be smoking a cig too.
Yeah.
Like a sick ass cig.
Yeah, you're almost bothered that they're talking to you.
You're really more pontificating, and someone else is there. It's really you're with your own thoughts.
Yeah.
But your own thoughts are maybe there's an assistant in the room.
Yeah,
that isn't of note. Not worthy enough for your attention, but
they don't deserve eye contact. Yeah, don't meet my gaze.
That is great. Okay, on to the next segment, which is Accent Police.
Anyone got it?
I do not detect an accent.
Oh, we finally got a perfect movie with no accent police.
I do not detect an accent.
I think they made a smart decision where it was like, should we make these people do a New Orleans accent?
Ooh,
it's
smart.
a very tough accent to do, and I think they made the right choice and be like, hey, let's just have them talk normal. People that do Boston movies, this is an option. You can talk normal. You don't always have to do the Boston accent.
Hey, head down to the Harvard Yard, pack your car. How'd I do? Hey,
You
Mark
nailed it.
Wahlberg,
Yeah.
I can come to Vegas. Cast
To
me.
work out Wahlburgers or what?
No, Wahlberg, he did you not hear?
No, what happened?
Mark Wahlberg has moved to Las Vegas, and he's building a film studio so that he can, don't quote me on this, better align with his moral, I think they're very religious, him and his family, and so he's like, Hollywood is heathens, a den of iniquity. And so we're moving to Vegas where I can, wait.
Is this right?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
It's what I heard. It's the talk on the picket lines.
Oh, okay. I'm going to apply.
Yeah, I believe that he's going to make his own film studio there. It will only be, Crafty will only be supplied by Wahlburgers.
Okay.
And his whole family is going to staff, because he's got a very large family, brothers, uncles, aunts, and they're all going to staff the production studio.
It's just Boston Market. It's
Hey,
all the
Boston Market. Yeah, we got Boston Market and Wahlburgers. What do you want? I don't know what the Wild bag is. I don't know. Okay, we've established that I cannot do a Boston accent. Thank you for listening. Gummy rating.
Oof.
We are at a 4.5 gummies. Now, this...
Wow. This is a record. This is the worst rating you've given on this podcast.
It is. And now, this isn't the worst film I've ever seen. Okay? It wasn't great for me. Take 4.5 gummies and try not to get too lost in a convoluted story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's good advice.
Just try to have a little fun. I did feel, again, halfway through the film, I was like, they're adding more plot points, and I stopped trying to pay attention. I was like, why or what? Just, kill the bad guy ghost and move on with our lives. What's happening?
Yeah. I will say, I hate to be wokeisha, but it's worth mentioning that I'm always a little bummed of my black guilt when you get this many black talented people in a big budget film and it's not well made, you have Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, Lakeith Stanfield. The kid is great, So I wanted it to be good, but I always have the ticking clock in my brain of how maybe white entertainment thinks, and it's like, oh, we took a risk on all those black people making a film, and it was bad, Let's just keep casting whites.
We're taking it back. I already saw on the Slack channel that us whites have.
They're taking it back?
They're taking the power back.
Oh, yeah, I heard the new Black Panther's Emma Stone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because she's already played Asian, so now we're going to shake it up, and she's going to play black woman. A Black Panther, actually.
Oh.
I agree. Go see this movie just to support, or buy a ticket and don't go. They won't know. Thank you for tuning in to Dirtying the Frame, and don't forget to come back because we've got more movies we are going to be talking about soon. Bye.